Greetings. I'm going to walk you through how to configure Tunnel Example D02. Using the business tunnel in this way allows you to securely connect to your home computer and browse the internet from work. You can use the same configuration here to allow you to securely browse the internet from all sorts of non-secure locations, such as coffee shops, airports, libraries, hospitals, etc. The case here is that your company firewall blocks all internet browsing. You have received permission to gain access to certain websites to purchase some computers for work, but you're unable to because the company firewall. For security reasons, they don't want to take any risk by having anything downloaded or uploaded. Of course, you have been given permission to access the internet as long as the firewall does not have to be reconfigured in any way, and you don't require any time from the already overloaded system administrator. We're going to create an SSH tunnel from work, or wherever you are, to an SSH server running on a computer at home that has HTTP access to browse the internet. Then I can use a browser on my computer at work to browse the internet. Pretty neat and pretty easy, as you will see. To create an SSH tunnel, you need to have an SSH server installed on your home computer, which I do. I also need to know the IP address of my home computer. If you don't already know your IP address, then you can just Google my IP from your home computer and your public IP address will be displayed. First, we will configure the Georgia Softworks business tunnel. When we open up the business tunnel, we see the configuration summary page. Expand the configuration if it is not already expanded. Go to the configuration section. You will see tunnels and local port usage. Click on tunnels. In the tunnel list selection, click new. The first configuration section, SSH host info, specifies how to get to the SSH server. We need to give the tunnel a name, something where we can recognize where it is connected and how it is being used. We'll name it Tunnel to Home Network. For host, we put the address of the SSH server, which is the IP address. If you have a router that forwards to the SSH server host, you would use the router IP address. The tunnel uses port 22, which is the default value. In the authentication section, we fill out the credentials to access the SSH server. At my house, I use username password authentication, so I put that information here. The more detailed section of the tunnel setup lets you select compression level, protocol, etc. The defaults are usually good, so I will leave them alone. Make sure you have Enable this tunnel box checked. Click OK and your tunnel is now configured. Now we will configure a channel for the tunnel we just created. Select the tunnel for which you want to create a channel. Then under the channels list section, click New. For the name again, we want to pick something that is recognizable. We're using this channel to browse the internet, so we will name it Browsing Using Home Computer. We will select Dynamic Forwarding Type since it gives us the most flexibility when browsing. The local address is set to the loopback address of my computer at work. The local port number is an arbitrary available port on my computer. Since the HTTP port is port 80, I like to keep my arbitrary port recognizable. So I will make it easy for me to associate it by simply adding 10,000 to 80, giving me 10,080. We don't need to do anything with the remote address or the remote port for this example. Make sure the channel is enabled and then click OK. Now you will notice the activation button is clickable. We need to activate the configuration changes. Then we can click on Activity and observe the tunnel and channel we just configured. Everything will say 0 at this point because we haven't started browsing yet. The last thing we need to do is configure the internet browser to use the tunnel and the channel information we just set up. We do this by using the browser proxy configuration. Each browser has its own way to configure this. I'm using Internet Explorer 11, so I'll show you how to do it using that. Open Internet Explorer, select Tools, then Internet Options. Select the Connections tab and click the LAN Settings button. Check the Use a Proxy Server for your LAN and click on the Advanced button. We want a SOCKS proxy server. We then enter the address and the port information that we used in the channel configuration. The address is the loopback address and the port is the arbitrary port number. Click OK, then OK, then OK one more time, and we should be at the browser again. Now, the browser is using the tunnel that we just configured. We can be sure of this by going back to monitor the activity and seeing the bytes downloaded and uploaded will be changing. New Internet Explorer browsers that are opened will retain the configuration information, so they will be using the business tunnel as well. You can leave your tunnel running if you'd like, so that all your browsing is secure. You have gained access to the internet to perform your assigned task through the firewall without requiring any firewall changes and without requiring time from your already overloaded system administrator.